We are next going to be speaking to Toan Lam. I'm so excited to have Toan here today because Toan was a courageous and bold pioneer who joined our very first cohort of your best-selling book in the fall of 2023 and is also a subject of my TED Talk. So I did a TED Talk at TEDx Boca Raton in May of this year, storytelling, how storytelling can heal our trauma and help heal a divided world. And one of the star stories in my TED Talk about storytelling is Toan's story, which I'm going to let him tell for you today. So you'll get to hear it from Toan himself. Toan, welcome. We're so happy to have you here.
Oh my God, Mei, congratulations! Jen, congratulations! I am so honored to be here and a part of this, like one of the founding cohort members, I guess. Um, uh,
Okay, well, before you jump in, I'm going to give your official bio, Toan.
okay, I thought that was a
I'm going to
bio.
leap
Okay.
in with your official bio.
Okay.
So, Tuan Lam has over 20 years of experience as a bold storyteller on multiple platforms. He's been a television host. He has trained other people in how to speak and do media and press. He has had a presence in social media and on the web. And he is an absolutely phenomenal and engaging storyteller. As you may be able to tell from his ridiculously gorgeous outfit and background, he's also an interior designer and he has done incredible work on helping other people design their interiors in a way that has a deep and profound spiritual message, which is basically aligning your inner spirit with your external expression of what your home and space looks like. I am so thrilled to have you. Thank you, Toan. And I just can we take a moment to admire Toan's background? You need to speak so we can see you all on screen.
Let me move out of the way. This is my California Parisian kitchen nook in Sacramento. And I did this, you guys, on the day of the elections because it was just a way for me to decompress. And I actually did some writing too. So thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for everyone for sharing your story. Jordan, I felt you when you were like, you were seen for the first time, or you felt like you were your authentic self. Wow. I just have a warning for everybody. Can I warn people that this is like such an inward journey that I did not expect at all. Mei is super amazing. I love her personally, professionally, spiritually, and respect her so much. And when she was like, would you like to join this first cohort? And I was in the middle of like going to Paris because I went there on a sabbatical to write. And I was like, oh, I don't know when it's going to be a good time. But you know what, y'all? It's never a good time. I guess it's kind of like having a baby. I don't have kids, but it's like it's never a good time, right? And I took it, and the first day, did you want me to share my story now, or did you have other questions?
No, that was
Okay,
exactly what I was going to say. Can we
okay.
just dive into your
Okay,
penny loafer
so
story?
literally day one, within the first like 10 minutes, Mei was like, I want you guys to do a free writing. This is going to help you unblock. And I was like, okay, free writing. I took expository writing. I was a journalist for 20 plus years. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. Whatever. I'm here to support. So she was like, write about something that changed your life, the trajectory of your life for the good or bad. And the key is to unblock your writing, even if you don't know, just keep writing. Like, even if there's nothing coming through, just say, I don't know what's right. I don't know what's right. But just keep that keyboard moving, keep your pens and your notebooks moving. And I wrote, and I was like, I was 10 years old. And by the way, I'm 47 this month. And for like 45 years, I've never shared this story with anybody, like nobody. And I wrote something she gave me the permission and the safe place and the community. And, this just poured out of me. And I was like, I was 10 years old, and we grew up in government assisted housing on welfare in South Sacramento, California. And I remember I really wanted these shiny pair of maroon penny loafers, and we couldn't afford it. So in the Chinese and Vietnamese culture, we give these like red envelopes for the new year or your birthday. So I saved up all of my red envelope, my lucky money, to buy these penny loafers. And there were these shiny maroon penny loafers. And when I saved up enough money to get them, I saved two of the shiniest pennies, the Lincolns, and I ceremoniously like placed them in the tongue of the penny loafers with the eyes peering out as though it was going to protect me. But I decided that day instinctively, and I was in the flow and in play mode. I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear them sockless with three-quarter length pants. And I was like three-quarter length, whatever. I was just like, I liked how it just showed like your bare ankles. And this is before like all of people, it was like a style thing. And they weren't really three-quarter length. We couldn't afford new clothes. So I was the tallest out of the siblings, and those were hand-me-downs. So I wore that with my grandmother's knit, chunky cable knit vest. And it looked more effeminate, I guess. So I didn't care though. I remember looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh, so chic. I felt so good, right? And so I remember going to school, um, and like skipping literally in my shiny penny loafers. And I went to school, and it was the worst day of my life because I was made fun of. I was called, "Oh, you faggot! That looks like a girl's shoes. Like the sweater is at your sister's." Blah blah blah. And it was the last time I wore them. And I wrote in that writing session, like I stepped away from my sure-footed fabulousness, and I threw them out. And then, time was running out, and I remember writing, if I could just tell you, 10-year-old Tuan, that you would grow up, um, you and your vibe will find your tribe, and that you will grow up finding more love and more peace and more joy and more money and all that, I would just take you to the top of the Eiffel Tower and scream and shout it, at the top of my lungs until you get it. Um, and I said I would take you on a shoe shopping adventure. And I looked up when I was writing, and like Maymay was crying, and that was just, people were like all teary-eyed and crying. And I think that everybody has a penny loafer story. Um, so that happened, and then May was like, "This has to be the first chapter of your book," and I was like, "What? No! Like my book is about glimmers. It's going to be lighthearted. It's going to be about interior design that lifts your spirits and style on any budget." And she's like, "No, this is your first chapter," um, and I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, Miss Two-time bestselling New York Times bestselling author, I'm gonna listen to you." No, so. It became an inward journey. So instead of interior design, when I went to Paris, I met all these amazing, creative, artistic people. I mean, Jordan, you would love it too, because just people being people being me, like us being us, authentically and free. Um, like I felt in this course that we were taking. It wasn't just a course, it was really an inward journey, spiritual journey. And I just like thank you so much. I'm still um figuring it out in terms of like, okay, so many of my journal entries ended up because you gave me the permission slip, and you literally co-signed my permission slip to be like, tell more, we want more of this. Um, so instead of interior design, it is the design of your interior, how to relove and reclaim your true style. And I was battling back and forth with, voices, because I did talk to another book editor. I talked to a literary agent, and they were like, well, the through line could be these stories, but you should make it about interior design because that's what sells. And I sat with it for a while, and I put it aside. And I'm like, that, and maybe you don't know this yet because this had just happened like within the last month, but I was like, no, this is just going to continue to be a love letter to my little boy self. And there is a pressure because there are like six stores, that want to pick it up, and I haven't even gotten to the place of getting a publisher yet, and they're pretty well-known stores, and I was just like, whatever. If people don't want to pick it up, I don't care. As long as it just heals like the little Jordan, the little Twan, the just that place inside us that has always felt either less than or not enough or not seen and heard and felt. That's what it's all about. So anyway, warning you guys, this is definitely an
Toan.
inward journey that is like, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. I mean, I can't believe I teared up. I've heard that story.
Me
I've
too.
told that
I'm
story.
trying not to cry.
I've told that story, and it makes me tear up every time you tell it. And we all have, every single one of us, a penny
We
loafer
do.
story, as we said. That's why it has to be the opening story of your book. Every single one of us has had a moment where we've been ridiculed
Mhm.
or made to feel small or less than. And every one of us has a journey to go on to heal that and claim it. And so I just love your vision for a book that guides people in stepping into their authentic, glimmery selves. So thank you. And I'm
Thank
glad you're
you.
being told to do that by your spirit guides, no matter what the outside world is telling you.
Do you know the crazy thing too is that once I was like, F this, I'm just gonna do me. Remember we had this conversation on a call, our last call. I was like, I'm just gonna do me. I don't really care. Like if it turns out to be a book, it's a book. If it turns out to be whatever, it's just for here, it's for this. The little boy that was not seen, heard, and felt and loved, and the kid that didn't feel safe. So, I mean, it was really a cosmic collision of like courage and confidence and community. There's a lot of C's there. I love alliteration. Um, that there's an alchemy in this. And this morning, maybe if you don't mind me sharing, I sent Mamie a little video, and I was like, girl, it's your day. I was like, you're launching this amazing sacred contract that you have to heal and reveal and feel. And that's what, this is all about. So, I encourage people to whatever you feel is right, whether it's this story cure community or, your best-selling book or booking sessions with you just to hold space to feel safe. I mean, I wish I had Mei Mei in my pocket when I was younger, but you know, I hope to pass that permission slip along in a book form or whatever form through this. So that's what this storytelling doula has done for me and
Thank
a
you.
lot of us.
Well, you've done the same for me, Tuan. So back at you. Kiran, I think you had a question for Tuan. So I'd love to bring Kiran on to ask Tuan a question.
Oh, absolutely, Tuan. I have heard your story many times. I've heard it elaborated in emotional times when we've been to, Mamie and I have been together, and I've heard it practiced a lot of
Mm.
times. So yeah, but it's really wonderful to hear it from you. And it's an interesting thing too because I'll bring Jordan back into this as well because when you're a marginalized person, so many of your stories begin with a lot of conflict. But I
Mm,
wanted to ask you because I'm always very curious where stories come from, and it seems like much of your storytelling comes from objects, with whether it's a shoes or
mm,
design or structure, and I love trying to delve into stories that begin without words. So I was wondering if you
mm.
could kind of elaborate on that.
Wow. Um, that is such a really good in-depth question. Oh my gosh. So I have this interesting relationship with objects because the objects themselves are just objects until you connect a story to it. Was it Van Gogh who had the chair in the room? Is that right? Like, right? It's the chair in the room. It's this beautiful Astier mug that's made in France, the story behind the two men that created it and like the craftsmanship and how all the workers are just these amazing artisans from Tibet and that infuse spirituality in it. It's really the story, but I think this is the hardest thing, I think, in storytelling is that, there's so much that goes into it. Like the first thing that Mei told us was say this aloud, come on. And I felt like this was like a spiritual course where we were chanting. It was a spirituality course, but you were like, say I'm an author. And we're like, "Ooh, I'm an author. You know what I mean? And while the book is important, while the things are important, I feel like all this and all this and all whatever are just the way, like this is what's on the inside. This is the soul of who we are. And these are just things that manifest. So, like with the fires that are happening right now, that we are all touched by in LA, right? These are just things, right? They're effervescent. They come and go. Um, but the stories behind them last forever. So, for me, if it takes like, I mean, it's just how things make me feel, right? It's that awe-inspiring glimmer of the thing that how it makes you feel. So, from the inside out, when things manifest in clothes or, because our styles change, our homes change, things change, but really, it's just how you manifest what's in here. Like, why do you, maybe somebody likes jewel tones or somebody may like a certain dress and we're drawn to it, just like we're drawn to people. There's an energy around it. But I think one a beautiful thing I guess I could hope I'm answering your question is that when you have that story locked inside here, when you have these words or the music or whichever way, things will manifest, right? When you write things down, they become real. So, I do manifesting workshops with people and intention setting workshops and sessions. And it's like when you write down, like, I am an author, right? Or I am going to be a TV reporter. I am going to be a PBS show host. I'm going to be all these things that I thought I wanted to do and they manifested. It's when you write it down, it becomes, there's something about the physical and it has nothing, the tangible. It has nothing to do with like the actual of monetary value of it, but it's all energy. So yes, things matter, but they don't, right?
I love
So
that.
I hope that that answers your
Yeah.
question.
Because I feel the
Thank
same
you.
way. No, absolutely.
That's so great. I love that that objects become more than objects when they're imbued with story. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Jordan wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to give you guys a chance to connect here. So Jordan,
Hi, so beautiful. I'm inspired already. I cannot wait to read everything that you
Thank you.
write. I'm curious in your experience how you share your stories across lines of difference. What about people who don't care about interior design or don't care about the stories that we tell about our penny loafers, about our queerness? What is it in your experience that you found has built that bridge to other people?
Ooh, that's a really good question, Jordan. Back in the day, I'm a part of the Asian American Journalists Association, and I remember there was a guy from the Poynter Institute who was one of the lead storytellers that said that it's your job as a journalist to make me care about this. Remember when there was a point in time, I think in the 80s, when Firestone tires, they were blowing up and there were all these lawsuits and it caused crazy accidents. He was like, I may not own a car, but if I take public transit and there's an accident, it affects me. Right. So for me, I love me some Oprah. I watched every single episode. I remember there was a teaser that was like, girl, are you wearing the wrong bra size? Because we got a bra whisper to hook you up coming up at 4. See you then. Right. And I remember watching that and I'm like, nothing wrong, by the way, with wanting to wear a bra or if I'm a man and wanting to wear a dress, like what it does, I never wanted to wear a bra. I think it might be very uncomfortable, maybe a sports bra, but anyway. Um, but I watched and you know what? She had the woman, the billionaire that created Spanx on. And this woman was super spiritual and she said that, you know what? I tried to pitch this Spanx and Spanx for all of you guys that don't know are the like the undergarments that like make you smooth and suck in and tuck in, right? For women and now they have some for men. But I didn't care about all the bras and all that. But what I cared about was that and what I connected to was her story about having a dream and not giving up on that dream. Time after time and after hundreds of no's, she finally got a yes. That's what I care about. So while you may not be gay, while you may not be LGBTQ, whatever, you may not care about shoes or style or fashion or anything, you may be a woman who has felt less than in the boardroom with all white men. You may be, right? You may be a minority. You may be, all of us have felt less than. There's always somebody that you think is prettier or smarter or more handsome or fit or skinnier or buffer or whatever, right, than you are. So Jordan, it's really like your essence, like your biggest gift to the world is being authentically you. And that's my message. And I don't care who you are on this earth, we've all felt less than. And that penny loafer story, like reached so many men and women and straight and gay and LGBTQ and black and people in Paris. I mean, like the shoes that I wore in Paris at different soirees, people were like, damn, those are really nice, blah, blah, blah. And then we had a deeper conversation about them. And they're like, why are you here? And penny loafer. And then they're like, well, I had a moment when I felt less than. So it's not about just going back to Quran, like it's just not about like the actual thing. that somebody cares about, but it's the story and the lesson behind it.
It's so beautiful. Thank you. Sign
Yeah.
me up. I am.
I know. Sign me up for you too. Okay, we're gonna connect after this for
Love
sure.
it.
Tuan, we are throwing around a lot of suggestions, and Jordan too. We were talking a bit about this, and Kiran, I know this is important in your writing as well. Being vulnerable.
Mm.
Where is the danger in that, or where do you draw a boundary? Because I feel like in this day and age, more than ever, readers do not want your bullshit. I'm so amazing. Here's my great, like, I know how to save the world. I saved the world story.
Mhm.
They want the penny loafer story. They want the Jordan, feeling like on the verge of ending his life, and then his teacher
Mhm.
told him he was gay. But where do you worry about the trolls or the haters? I'll let you, any of you can speak to this.
Um, I used to be really worried about it. But in writing this book or this thing, this book was just like every time I got stuck, I started journaling in different arrondissements and cafes in Paris, and I started journaling, and the journal started making it in my book. And one of the things I discovered is that it's like this there's you come into this world as this beautiful spirit. And you, when you're a child, you're closest to spirit world because that's where you just came from, I believe. And so you come with this knowledge of who you are. Boys hold hands with boys, black kids, white kids, rich and poor kids, they hold hands, they don't care until you start, there's a dissonance. You start disconnecting from that because you're told, no, this is bad. You don't do this. You don't play with those kind of people. You shouldn't be playing with Barbies, this is wrong. Boys don't cry, and you live most of your life like that, or most people, and it manifests in if different illnesses. I think physical, mental, spiritual illnesses. But what happens is when you do take time to digest and metabolize them, which happened when I started writing with the permission and the space that you created for us, to be quite frank, Mei. So the kid has this knowledge that you come with, but when you grow up and you live life, this wisdom comes with experience. And when they connect, for me, it was through the writing. They held hands. My little boy held hands with my adult self, and now I don't care. And one of the things that we all have to be very careful about is to care so much about what other people have to say. I mean, I was a TV reporter in a big city in San Francisco, co-host for a show on PBS. Random people would walk up to me and recognize me. And for you to tell me that I'm ugly or go back to China, you chink, or you faggot, which I've been called in San Francisco, all those things, why should I care? Because just like if you were to say, "Oh my God, you're the best thing ever," you don't know me. Why should you care? And Mei, you were really amazing at holding this space for us where you were like, if you don't feel comfortable with sharing it in your book yet or ever, that's fine. But this is more than just, okay, write a book. You don't have to write a book. I mean, you don't, nothing has to happen. You just have to let the chapters unfold. So I've had the courage to share with a gentle nudge from Mei. She didn't say you have to share this. I mean, I was jokingly saying that, but she was like, if you really want to do this book justice and share you with the world, think about putting this in your first chapter. So just you do you, you'll know when it's ready. It's just like Jordan. I don't know at which point in your life I hate the word come out because you're not coming out. It's like you're letting people in to your fabulous closet, right? Right? So it's like, right? So it's like you know, you there it's it's a journey. So it's nobody can I would never out anybody because it's their journey of whether you're 40 or 50 or 5 or 10. It's so personal and sacred. I'm just so glad this is the biggest gift that was given to me, Mei, of just being able to unlock this. And to be honest, it's still very raw, even though I took this course about a year ago, I still feel like the pimple just popped. That sounds gross, but you know what I mean. It still feels raw.
We're gonna use that in our next social media posting. I love it.
Pimple
Pop
just
that
popped.
pimple.
I
Kiran,
love it.
Kiran, you had something to say.
I did. I just wanted to actually point out, obviously, everyone on this meeting is realize this, but Tuan and Jordan, what you're doing right now is the story cure, which is like
Mm,
really amazing to
mm,
see it live happening and to bear witness to it. It's super powerful.
mm.
And
Thank you.
everyone should know that there has been an official request for Jordan and Tuan to team up and work together. Laura Burke, thank you for that. She said, please tell them now. So I am passing that along. There's a request out there. You have a fan club.
Yay.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Fantastic.
Tuan, before we move on to our next speaker, can you tell us all the wonderful places that we can find you? And when are you going to launch your company that takes people on tours of the Marché aux Puces in Paris to find the very best, most amazing antique and recycled, upcycled clothing finds?
Okay, so styleyourspirit.com is where you can find all of the offerings. But you know what, Mamie? I want to double back really quickly to how this kind of the story here and your best-selling book all kind of helped me kind of shape the sort of the business aspect of this because at first I was like, what is style? Like it's so ethereal. Like people think it's fashion. It is fashion. It is interiors, and style is your style, how you act, right? So in terms of writing in the about page, I write about these different services. Like I do media trainings, which is style, your style in which you act, right? I do homes. I do, people will be like, I'm going on the red carpet or I'm going to this soiree or whatever. What should I wear? So styleyourspirit.com is where you find it. But the things that I've learned through you and distilling it and just sitting with certain things has helped me actually write out those different services as well. So, yeah, one of the biggest questions that I was like sitting with that you emailed us with is what does story mean? Right? And I wanted to end it by saying story is sacred. It's a gift of you. So thank you for sharing your sacredness and your gift. May May, Jen, everybody here, like, and everybody watching. I'm excited to see, like, really, this is what the world needs right now. It seems so scary and like everything seems like it's burning literally, and being dismantled. And this is building like community and unity. And so I thank you really from my spirit to yours, May May, Jen, for setting this up, creating this playground for us.
Thank you. Story is sacred is beautiful. We're definitely using that. I love that. That's so profound and beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
Just
you.
thank you for being an early member of our community, for being such a radiant and positive and supportive and vulnerable and authentic voice in our very first cohort, and carrying on from there, being a just huge support to me as I embarked on this journey too. I'm so grateful to you. You guys all check out styleyourspirit.com. Check out Tuan and all the incredible work that he's been up to. And we are manifesting with all of our intention being in Paris at the same time because
Yes.
I lived in Paris for 2 years. We moved back, Huron and I moved back with our kids during COVID. And then Tuan embarked on his journey to Paris. And it was fun because his experience in the first cohort of your best-selling book not only connected him to people virtually, but also in person because we had 3 cohort members who were in Paris. And so when he landed in Paris, he had an instant community and I believe was whisked away to lunch by Susie, one of our first cohort members, like on day
First
1 or
day.
2.
Day one. Yeah. And you were like my little Parisian angel. And so we'll be there. I know we'll be there back and forth a lot. And I mean, there's just this is just not about book or writing or whatever. It's so much about creating a community that cures. It's in the name.
Yeah.
It just
And that connects over our shared story and our shared willingness to be vulnerable and authentic in that story.
yeah.
Thank you, Tuan. Everybody check out styleyourspirit.com. Bye.